Greetings, theists and non-theists. I am the TheAtheistPaladin. And of course, Das made the video. I knew he was going to do it. And I knew I was going to have to make this video anyways, one way or the other, regardless if he made it or not. Okay, it's about Solipsism, the good old Cartesian Demon. We cannot be sure of anything beyond than I think, therefore I am. And to that extent, that is true. To what I don't understand is, why does everything else, all the things that we can be rather certain of, have to be held to that same degree? Why does everything have to be reducible to a self-affirming fact as that? The question that requires your very existence, yes, of course. But also that provides that there is an existence. There is something which exists beyond ourselves. So we must have experience in order to, there must be existence in order to be experience. Because a mind is something that perceives itself in a reality, to its own model of reality, and it relates itself to it. And that is a mind, very simply. In order to look out the world, gather data, and then figure out where you are in it. That's how simple a mind needs to be. So there must be something to which we must experience. Even if it turns out our experiences or of our own minds are numbers on a computer somewhere running in a simulation, there's still something that exists. So that is much as irreducibly true from just the I think, therefore I am. And it is therefore reasonably so true to assume other minds. If it was just one other mind to create the computer, or to set up the brain in the vat scenario, at the very least we can be justified in assuming more than just our own mind. And so that this is where empiricism comes in, because even if you take the assumption that what we perceive is not as we think it is some sort of illusion, it is some sort of simulation, it doesn't give us any utility whatsoever, none. And I like to think philosophy provides us utility, and to fall in such a mental masturbation sort of role into this thinking quicksand doesn't really do us any good. I think we can be fairly certain of just a few things. And so the assumption of just a few things easily provides a reasonable justification, even though not absolute justification, for empiricism. And I think we all recognize, I don't know anybody who doesn't recognize the limitations of empiricism. Even if we just assume that we are a simulation, empiricism still provides us a huge amount of utility. It's just that we have to recognize that empiricism, in this sense, instead of telling us about reality, it only tells about what we can experience. To say that what we experience as reality is just an inductive step, and I think it is a strong inductive step, and it can be reasonably done. To assume otherwise doesn't do anything. It's because everything, when you try to put that to the test, and you try to test if reality is real, and anything that seems to verify that wouldn't be a point against solipsism at all. because we can just say, well, that's just part of the illusion, it's part of the deception, it's part of the simulation. That's just how good it is. And so it's unverifiable. So to make that assumption without any utility and without any possible falsification, I think I can reasonably dismiss solipsism. And I think I provided a good enough reason to have an empirical justification in and testing in things in reality. So how does God come into this? Well, nobody requires that sort of level of justification for God. Nobody requires absolute proof either. And how I deal with the issue normally points out that there is nothing to which they use God, the word God. It doesn't point to anything. It's either a gap in one's knowledge, it is either inconsistent, and then to say that exists, its very reality is inconsistent and still not experienceable with our own coherent reality. Because we can get together and we can verify each other's sensory information. That only shows the accuracy, I think, or how accurate our sensory information is, because this is why we know we have blind spots in our eyes. This is why we have that we are prone to optical illusions and things like that, because we observed each other's information from different perspectives, and we have now understood this, that is pretty much flaws in our own sensory data, that our minds to fill in the gaps for us, but it doesn't do so accurately, and that's why we're prone to such deceptions. So that's why I think that empiricism is useful, because it tells us such things, that our information is inadequate. We can experience things, we can experience light beyond that we can see. We can see microwaves, we can see now gamma rays and X-rays and radio waves, all because of empiricism. But what does solipsism give us? It doesn't really give us anything. I don't think you'll consider this as a solid refutation of solipsism, but I think anybody watching this would understand how I escape the Cartesian circle, the Cartesian demon, and go into the camp of reason and empiricism. And I think it's reasonably justifiable, so I don't think there can be any complaints from that. So, peace, take care, and remember, rationality is the path of righteousness.